You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to an episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, huge shout out to our sponsors. The Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma. And it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. Adding to that is the Doghouse, and so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. We are at Citizens House today, recording live from this wonderful room. Soundproof. The sound quality should be epic, I hope. If you're watching the video, it's pretty nice in here. But it gives me a great pleasure to introduce our guest today, local DJ and legend, Mr. JNZO. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the name, dude. Where's the name come from?
Man, I'll be honest with you. I get that question a lot. There's really no interesting background to it, but when I first started producing, I actually produced trap music before I started doing house music and stuff like that. And I don't know if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh. It's an old Japanese anime.
Yeah.
Well, one of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it's called JNZO, the Trap Lord. So that's kind of how that started off. Yeah, and then I'm not really producing trap anymore, but it just kind of stuck.
Do you still dabble in it?
Not as much as, I really don't anymore. I think I really just kind of shifted over and focused on a lot of house music now, but kind of wish I still dabbled in it a little bit. But
yeah.
That's kind of where that came from.
I have to bring it back for the OG fans every now and then, right? Bring that back. Do you have people who know Yu-Gi-Oh that come up to you that are like,
yeah, absolutely. I've had that happen multiple times.
That's awesome. Those that know. So growing up, big Oklahoma family. Tell me about your story, dude. How does growing up in Oklahoma and what you get into, and then your kind of dreams as a kid. What's that like?
I'm a second generation immigrant. Both of my parents came here at a fairly young age from Aguascalientes, Mexico. I've been in the restaurant industry my whole life, thanks to my dad. That's what he does, and just kind of grew up here. Been here my whole life. Elementary all the way to high school, a little bit of college. And growing up, I feel like I always kind of knew I wanted to do something in music. It wasn't always dance music, it wasn't always EDM, but I always kind of saw myself in some form of music.
With coming here, family, second generation, having that, and I'm an immigrant too, so I totally understand and kind of align with you on that, having that mentality of just every day is work day, the American dream is an opportunity, there's opportunity around every corner, and you're in Oklahoma, growing up around your parents are super entrepreneurial, so you have that as a background too, right? It's just all you know.
Yeah.
What's those stories from as a kid? Like you talk about, working in the restaurant industry.
I remember my dad started taking me to work when I was 8-9 years old. He would put me as a host and the people down, helping out here and there. But yeah, I've been doing it since I was 8-9 years old. So it's kind of, I'm kind of I'm very grateful for it, because that's really what's kind of shaped my work ethic, not only in the restaurant, but in everything I do pretty much.
Yeah. Well, the family business is pretty famous in Oklahoma, in Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah, it's so my dad's brother, Chileno, started the local Tex-Mex chain called Chileno's.
Yeah.
And my dad and his other brothers kind of helped build that up and then eventually expanded. They each kind of, got their own locations. So that's what we've been doing our whole lives, still going on until this day.
I know a little bit about the family background and how big in the community your family is. And would love to hear that from your perspective, from being one of the sons and being involved from a very young age, because your dad and your uncle have done things, but you also had the community market, right? The family has the market, and would love to hear you tell that story, because it's an incredible story, and I don't think it's told enough of just how great your family has been to the community and helped everybody around too. So, what's your side of the story for that?
Like I said, it's just, I think it started, 89, I believe. They started with one location, and they eventually expanded to, I think the most there's ever been at once was 13 or 14 locations.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, trickled up and down from there. But, just growing up with that, from elementary school, I've never really been the kind to be like, hey, my family does this or that. I just kind of like, even till this day, like, I'll be out and my dad's his name's Armando. The amount of people that know my dad is insane. I'll be out in public and even in other states, and like whenever I used to go on vacation with my parents as a kid, we'd be in San Antonio or even Orlando, Florida, and there would be people who just came up to my dad and was like, hey, you're Armando Cholinos, and the way like people know him is just insane. I'll go out like after work in my work uniform to the store or something, and they'll be like, hey, like, you work at Cholinos, like, which one do you work out? And I'll tell them Norman. I'll be like, oh yeah, I know that Armando guy. And sometimes I just kind of like, I don't really ever say, yeah, that's my dad. I just kind of like to sit back and listen what they have to say about him, and it's always just amazing stuff. Yeah. So that's.
So do you have do you have your own? Are you an owner of one of the? Yes. You're at your own restaurant now.
Well, yeah. So my the Cholinos in Norman, me and my older brother, kind of took over that. My dad's still in there because that's all he knows how to do. Like, we try to send him home, and there he is a few hours later. So it's kind of hard to get him out of there, have him relax. So it's just the work ethic he has. But me and my brother oversee that one, and we currently run it.
Okay.
Consumes most of our life. I don't know if anyone's ever been or has been in the restaurant or service industry in general. It'll consume your life.
So growing up around it since 8 and 9, always being around it, families involved in it, it's kind of all you've ever known. Starting from the ground up, bussing tables, and all the way to now owning it with your co-owning it with your brother. You've done every job.
Right.
As a kid, especially as an immigrant family, it sounds like there can be people. You could look at it as a way of like, you had your kind of writings on the wall. I know, like, my son's going to go do this. He's going to do this, this, and this.
Right.
But you also have a passion for music, which is kind of probably like your outlet, which I love.
Absolutely.
But what was before? Was it always? You mentioned music's always been in your family and always been around. Was there anything else as you growing up as a kid and you're thinking, man, if I don't do this restaurant thing, maybe I'll go do something else? Or was it always, I am going to do the restaurant thing, and then music might be around? Because that's a hard conversation to have with your dad and family,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah. And they've always been supportive of, like, anything I ever want to do. They always supported it, which is great, you know. I did when I graduated high school, I actually went to college and study a little bit of nutrition. So I wanted to be a nutritionist at one point. Yeah. Just kind of eventually lost a little bit of interest in that. Went into accounting, did a little bit of that. But I feel like as much as I say, as hard as it is, and as much as I say it consumes my life, I always kind of knew I wanted to do something in the service industry. Okay. Whether it's a bar, a restaurant, whatever it may be. But I always feel like I was wanted to be in the service industry. Other than music. Yeah.
When you go to college and you're kind of away from the industry, away from the restaurant a little bit, I'm sure you were still working there part-time, but did you miss it? Did you miss the energy and the hustle and bustle and being in front of people and just kind of seeing validation side?
Yeah, absolutely. I did. And I actually also drifted off and went into the car business for a few years.
Oh, really?
In my early 20s, yeah.
Okay.
So I did that for a few years. And I've always been grateful for that because it's kind of nice to, I've been in the family business my whole life. It was kind of nice to branch out and go into a scenario where I'm not family, so I'm not going to get any kind of special treatment, Mm-hmm. So that kind of helped me grow too and come back and do things a little bit better at the restaurant, a different perspective.
Yeah. So How does trap music fit into everything when you start music?
Trap music, it's just so when I first started getting into dance music and going to shows and stuff like that, trap music was my favorite. Before I,
Okay.
got deeper into house music, discovered all the different subgenres in house, trap music was always my go-to. So
Yeah.
kind of this is what I want to produce.
Does the car scene and music scene and your restaurant scene kind of interweave as well? All your friends are in and around everything, or was the car thing completely out of the blue? Like, I just need to go and get out and do something different.
I think after a couple of years of doing that, I realized it really wasn't for me.
Okay.
It was. I love the experience I got there and everything I learned from it, but I knew that in the long run, it really wasn't something
Yeah.
I wanted to do.
Yeah. Mostly grown up and been raised around Norman. Sounds like that's where the restaurant is. That kind of
More,
way.
actually, yeah.
More. Okay.
Yep, lived and grew up, and I still live in Moore till this day. But
Okay.
the restaurant has always been in Norman, so I've always kind of been in that,
Yeah.
been in that area.
Close enough.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. One thing I will say, there's nothing better than on a hot day than the chalice that beer comes in with lime. Is it Tecate and lime?
Caught in line.
I'm tasting my first one right now. It was so freaking good.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a hit till this day.
Yeah.
The amount of Tecates we go to is insane.
People listening, if you haven't experienced the Tecate and lime at Tolinos, you need to go there right now.
Yep.
It was, especially in the summer. I went there with a friend of mine for lunch, and he's like a big food guy, and he's like, every time we go somewhere, he just orders. I'm like, you order, I don't like spicy food, but do whatever. And he orders he didn't even order, he ordered like a platter or whatever it was. It's incredible. And he's like, will you have a beer with me? I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, all right, no big deal. And then he comes out, I'm like, okay, I can't just have one. Like, it's dangerous. They're so good. Yeah, it's awesome. So, growing up in the business, learning everything from ground up, like you got your education by doing and seeing, and
Right.
everyone's running around, you're working all the hours, but it's a family environment, so you're having the best and the worst of family business, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you can't get away from it.
That's exactly
But
right.
it's a great experience and thrown in the fire.
Yeah, I mean, working with family is just, it has, it's a curse and a blessing, because there's
Yeah.
times, you're bound to butt heads, with your family. So, there's a lot of times where I'm like, man, like,
Yeah.
if you get into some kind of like arguments, some might take it a little bit more personal than it would have been if it would have been in the family business. So, I mean, like I said, I'm blessed to be able to work with my family, but it's not the easiest at all times.
So let's dive into the music a little bit. When does the music really start for you, and when do you think, you mentioned going to shows and stuff, when is there a shift? Do you think, you know what, I enjoy going to shows, but I want to be on stage. I want to be the one controlling the room. I want to be the one controlling the music. I have a passion for music, and then you dive into that. At what age? And tell me about those moments that you think, I want to go do that.
I think it was really late 2015, early 2016 when I was really going to all these shows. I was going to all these festivals, and eventually, I would say most dance music DJs and producers would agree that you just kind of eventually just clicks, and you're like, I want to be up there. I want to be creating that energy, creating that vibe, that DJ is currently creating.
Yeah.
So.
And so that was trap music for you first.
Yeah, originally it was trap music. A lot of more like bigger genres like big room house, progressive house.
Yeah.
So a lot more main stage, more mainstream genres.
How long is it till you have your first opportunity to jump up on the decks in front of a crowd?
I would say maybe I started DJing or learning how to produce, and then I learned how to DJ afterward. This was maybe 2018. And
Okay, so if you dove production first.
Production and then
Okay.
DJing, yep.
What was it about the production side that drew you to that versus the production of making music and going it versus performing?
I think just being able to say, hey, this is my creation,
Okay.
I mean, I think music's an art form, so just be able to create your own art and be able to play it and be like, yeah, I made this. I think that's...
Yeah. Have you always been creative in other outlets growing up?
I've
That
always
was
loved art
no
in general.
surprise? Yeah.
I've always loved art. I mean, when I was in elementary school, I was a really good drawer, and I'd always win these awards for drawing pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've always loved art in general, and I've always loved music. So that's what kind of
Okay. And during that time, technology's at a level where you can dive in on your laptop and kind of get a program and really dive into it. And so you're just at home, headphones on, in your own place of zen and peace.
I actually had a family member who introduced me to a friend who was already producing at the time.
Okay.
He's still one of my really good friend of mine till this day. His name's Faze, incredible local producer. He's the one that taught me, I'd say, about 90% of what I know is in production.
Yeah.
The other 10% is just a bunch of YouTube tutorials.
People listening, it's not that hard. It is hard, but it's not that hard to start.
Yeah,
That's what
not
I'm
hard to
saying,
start at all.
right?
I mean,
Go to YouTube and do some
It's
research
time
with ChatGPT now too.
but it's once you get it down, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Just being able, like I said, being able to lock in there for a few hours, and once you get the final product, you can say this is my song.
With the production, you start making songs and putting that out there. Are other people like Faze or other DJs? I mean, he's in production, but there are other DJs starting to play your songs. Is that how the app? Like you thought, if I can produce this, somebody else can make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
somebody
like-
else can play it for you.
Yeah, I mean, it started like before I've released on a couple labels now, but before that, it was just sending off to like other friends that are local DJs. They'd play your music, and that's
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool feeling whenever you see another artist playing your song.
Yeah, it's like anybody who's designed a, can relate. They've designed a T-shirt and they see someone wearing it,
Exactly.
or whatever it is you've created, and somebody buys your artwork, something like that, right? You get that
Exactly.
validation that somebody else sees value in what I do, because we all see value in everything that we do ourselves.
Absolutely.
But you get that moment, you're like, oh, I should do more of this.
Yeah.
What's that like when you're like diving into that then and thinking, this goes from a hobby to 2018, 2019, you're like on stage now and started to be your own DJ and find your own sound and your own, music and movement, and your creativity dives into that music and you start putting yourself out there.
I think, honestly, it still took me maybe about another 4 years after that until I really found my niche, like my style.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was DJing and I was playing this genre and that genre, and I loved it, but it really didn't it wasn't me, and it wasn't until I realized that I really enjoyed tech house that I was okay, like, I really enjoy this. I'm pretty good at it. Like, I think I can make something out of this,
Yeah.
and started putting myself out there and shooting emails or DMs to local promoters or bars, clubs, whatever it may be, and just hoping for the best.
Yeah. Who's your first paid gig?
First paid gig was actually Flux.
Okay.
Yeah, Flux. That was actually the first gig I ever got.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
your first time ever
First
was
time
also
ever.
paid?
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
It was something,
Oh, it's money. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, and I
yeah.
loved it, and still grateful for the opportunity they gave me back then. And I want to say that was maybe like 2019, I believe.
Okay.
2019.
How long was the set?
An hour
Okay.
set.
Take me to that moment. Do you just get an email or a text and you're just like...
Actually, a friend who was, I believe he was playing that same, I don't remember if he was playing that same night or if he was booking the bill, but he actually reached out to me and saw that I was like producing.
That's awesome.
He was like, you want to come out here and play? And I was like, heck yeah, let's do it.
Previous friends of yours on the podcast as DJ guests, they've been around, traveled a little bit. What is the culture like for music as far as, your family background, the influence that your family has in your music, as far as like going to nightclubs and having that scene? Like, it's obviously you've been around it growing up, but it's family. What is that like when you start to combine those cultures inside on stage to mix those? Because I'm sure that's happened at some point, right?
Like referring to.
Meaning like your background, your family history and your culture obviously comes from, like, you have deep roots in this with your culture,
Right.
but that also has a sound.
Right.
What is that like? Have you integrated that sound and that culture
Oh,
into your
yeah.
music, and how have those two cultures mingled? Because music brings us together,
Right.
So how has that been? Did you start that from an early age, beginning, or has that been something that's kind of happened later?
So I'd say, now everything I produce is Latin based. It's
Okay.
like it's a subgenre called Latin house. So
Yeah.
I do a lot of whether it's originals or edits. I take samples from different Latin songs that were probably hits in the '90s
Yeah.
up till this day, and I'll sample them out, throw them on a house beat, and make the best out of
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I'd say about 80% of my sets now is going to be Latin house. So
Okay.
definitely has an influence on me.
There's a huge market for it here too, right? There's
Absolutely.
huge like
There
nightclubs
is.
for it, and that's one thing that I want to call him Caruso. Keaton DJing at Los Locos and having that, from him coming over from, his background of growing up in the country and seeing
Yeah.
this new idea, and then, everyone's friends around here, especially in your industry. So yeah, I'm sure it's a riot going and seeing you guys together and just playing and bringing people together, because that's the beauty of music. It doesn't matter if there's 100 people in a nightclub or if there's 1,000 people in a field. Like, it doesn't matter. Music's music. So tell me, you said you changed, started as trap, you changed into house music. When does that happen? What is it about house music that takes you to a certain place creatively? And then you mentioned Latin house, the subgenres that are in house music.
So again, when you're going to all these music festivals, for example, when I went to EDC Vegas 9 years, it was 2016, 9 years ago? No, wow. That was
Sorry.
So, my first time going to that festival, they have all these multiple stages. They have, I don't know, they're probably up to like 10 stages now, I don't know. But every single stage is a different genre of dance music. And when you're there, I went because I wanted to see all these big trap artists that I've always liked. So that's what I went for. But as you're there, you kind of start lingering out to other stages and this is cool, like what is this, so I went to the house stage, went to the techno stage, and really I think what I really like about house music is that it's more of a vibe. It's nothing that's like too hype, it's just something you can vibe with and just kind of hang out with your friends while you're still just kind of like dancing around, and that's when I think eventually I realized that that's what I really liked. I didn't want to create anything too heavy. Just something right here that I can just vibe to, and that's...
You don't have to rage to it.
Exactly, yeah. You can literally even just be playing it in the background at home, and it's still kind of just...
Yeah. But that also brings its own complications in it too, right? Because, with the trap stuff, it's, very heavy. You got to be in the right mood to listen to it,
right,
whether you're working out or in, at a gig. Whereas, like I said, the house music stuff, you can play it anywhere.
Exactly.
But then creating it, there's totally different to create, right? So you got to be in a totally different creative space to create house music versus trap music.
For sure.
How was that for you creatively to change your creative process and really dive into and find your sound for the house side?
I will say, I think house music is a little bit simpler to create because it's always kind of like the same structure. So I always say it's like working smarter, not harder, when you're making house music. So, but I feel like once you create one house track, you kind of have that same structure for everything else. So just going from one BPM to another, I think was the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Who's your favorite house DJs?
House DJs?
Right now.
Currently?
Yeah.
A lot of my influence comes from DJ named Clooney, Chris Lake, a lot of Michael Bibby, Paco Suna, a lot of Dennis Cruz, Martinez brothers, a lot of minimal tech guys.
Yeah. There's so many out there.
Yeah,
there's so many great
it's
sounds.
Insane, yeah.
And then I guess technology is making it easier to sample sounds and
right,
really be creative and dive into it. You're not relying on a record player here and there. And then you're getting it from your iPhone. You're like, okay, let's record this and throw this in. The people are making music out of crazy stuff
insane,
at the moment.
right?
Yeah. Have you got to travel quite a bit and kind of experience whether it's TV, whether it's shows or music festivals or just overseas? Because house music's generally Europe based, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely the biggest in Europe. I actually love traveling. I have traveled quite a bit. My biggest festival I've been to overseas was Creamfields in the UK.
You did Creamfields?
I did Creamfields, yeah.
Did you camp as well?
I did.
How was that experience? Did it rain?
Those good, yeah. I think it did rain.
Say you must have.
It did rain like the Thursday, so the day before.
Creamfields is massive.
So it was a mud fest, and everybody was just having the time of their lives. There was people sliding through the mud, just making the best out of it. It was great.
Oh, wow. Who did you see at Creamfields? That really stood out to you. I guess you saw everybody, but it's such a big, for people listening, Creamfields is like the UK's biggest dance festival.
Just getting to see, I think that was my second time first or second time. Seeing Calvin Harris's set's always amazing. I mean, it's hard to see Calvin Harris set nowadays, so anytime you can catch him, I always recommend go see it.
Yeah, he's kind of coming back. He's good.
He
woke up a little bit recently.
Yeah,
He's posted Blessings and a few others. Just okay, he's back.
Yep.
Yeah, Calvin Harris was like my high school years, his peak, big music stuff. And then, where did he play? I think I saw him at, what's that festival in Austin? Everybody goes, ACL. Saw him at ACL one year. Yeah, and he was like, wow. Yeah, it's funny seeing music live. I think people who listen to house music or any form of music, that house music makes the most sense live, right? Because you get the build up, you get the vibe, you're in a crowd around people, you get that feeling. Whether you're just listening to it in the car, it's different.
Yeah.
Right? Like I encourage everyone to go and see it.
You got to see it live, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a whole different vibe.
So Creamfields, anywhere else?
Overseas, festival-wise, no. I've been to like Ushuaia in Ibiza, different clubs in Ibiza, and I've been to a few clubs in Mykonos. Just a lot.
Okay.
I always I like going to see the club scene in different countries, you know, and it's also different. I mean, I've been to the club scene in Japan recently, last November, and it's...
That's right, you did like a month in Japan, didn't you?
It was a couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
A little over 2 weeks.
Do you feel like a giant in Japan?
I did. I was in an elevator, and there was this like group of people just kind of looking at me.
I had a friend of mine who was a teacher in Japan, and she said, like, all the girls, all the kids are like touching her face.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel? It's super weird. But yeah, Japan is, I mean, talk about a completely different culture.
I think that's what I loved about it the most, just the culture shock. You know, you go to Europe and it's different, but you still kind of get the Western feel. But when you go to Asia, it's just a huge flip. And I think that's the greatest thing about it to me.
Did you go solo?
No, I went with my brother and Faze.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's such a different part of the world. It's hard to describe unless you've been there.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's like on top of each other, but it works.
It works.
Super clean.
They have whatever they're doing, it is working. Yeah.
Okay, how was Ushuaia? Ushuaia is like the Mecca. I mean, Ibiza is the Mecca.
Ushuaia is definitely the Mecca. It was great. I mean, it's a club, but it's outdoors, so it's almost like you're at a festival. They got a whole stage set up, pool right in the middle. Yeah, and it's just an incredible.
Who played
time.
Ushuaia when you were there?
When I was there, so it was the same trip actually. That was the first time I saw Calvin Harris. Was at Ushuaia.
Sick.
And then we did 2 weeks in Europe, and I think on our last weekend. We went to Creamfields and we saw him again. So it was Calvin Harris.
God, if there's a world where I could spend 6 months just traveling music festivals, it'd be so good. Although I did see today Tomorrowland stage caught fire. Did you see that? That's a disaster because that stage is incredible. Oh,
it's going to be interesting to see how they manage that situation.
What's different as far as you mentioned EDC Vegas? What have you noticed that's different around the world for people going to festivals? Does anything stand out? And the music's generally the same, but the acts are the same, but the people obviously are different all over the world.
I would say, I mean, for the most part at festivals, I feel like everyone's usually pretty cool, you know? They're there for the music, they're there for a good time, looking after one another. I will say nowadays, there's a lot of festivals that are more, people go there for content, you know, for example.
Go to take the photo.
Influencer festivals, what I would say. So that kind of does create a whole different vibe to where back then it was before, I don't know, TikTok was around. It was a whole different vibe than it is now, you know.
People are there for the music. They're not there with their phone out taking pictures and video. Like you got 30,000 people, you know, there, and half of them are got their iPhone out getting the same video. It's the most irritating thing to me.
I think that's the only thing that's really. But other than that, I mean, the crowd's usually the same. I mean, it's all, I've never really ran into anything like.
Have you done anything in London? Have you done a Printworks in London?
No, I wanted to go to Printworks. I think they closed it down now. Yeah, I never got to make it to London. We only went to whenever we did Creamfields. We only hit Manchester.
Okay.
Yeah,
which Manchester's good.
Yeah.
I did. I saw David Guetta there he did a warehouse project set underneath Manchester train station in the parking lot, which was sick. But that was 18 years old. That was like almost 15 years ago, more than that. That was back when he did, it was a long time ago. His set was really good. But it was, Manchester's really good. There's some great gigs in Manchester.
I didn't get to venture off enough to see the club scene there because we just kind of went. And then we were camping at the festival, so we had to get to the campsite. But I definitely want to go back to the UK in general.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. My brother's really into it. My brother went to Germany this summer, and he said that they're very strict on, him and his buddies tried to get into a club one night and they just turned him around. They're like, not tonight, boys, and they didn't give him a reason. They just said, you guys aren't coming in, and then they went back the next night and they all got in. So weird. The guys at the door were just based on the look of you, he's not going to raise any hell, but they were. From whatever reason, one night, but he said he got in the second night, and therefore they check you. You don't take any phones in. It's total immersive experience.
I think that's great.
Which is great. It's kind of what you want, right, with the music, and also the DJ up there wants everyone to be involved. And he sent me a small video which was basically pointed at the floor the whole time, and he was just listen to how crazy this is, and it was just some massive. He likes the heaviest stuff. he's into CrossFit and listens to like, it sounds like death metal, but a house version of death metal. You know, it's like that kind of range type thing. But yeah, he's been to more gigs than I have and tells me all about it. So you have this moment, you switch kind of into the house space, and you find your vibe and just something you can listen to the whole time. But then you're also simultaneously, trying to balance running a business and becoming a business owner and take over with your brother. Tell me about that. How's that juggling both things? Because both things take a different kind of attention, a different kind of creativity, but they're both pretty heavy things to deal with.
It's definitely not easy. I'll say that. It's definitely not easy. I almost feel like I live a double life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not many people have seen me in like the restaurant work environment, but if they have, they'll probably agree that I'm a little bit different at work than I am like outside of work. It's not easy, but I think that's what makes like the DJing side so much funner, because like that's my getaway time, my free time, and I'm doing something I love. So
yeah. Do people who know you by your DJ name know your real name? Do you get asked that a lot?
Yeah, it's great. So now,
because obviously everyone at Chilenos, everyone at work knows who you are, right? Yeah. Like you got your name tag on probably, but like your DJ world, everyone's like, oh, it's just.
I still have like so many like situations where a friend or somebody will introduce me to someone. They'll be like, hey, this is JNZO, and I like when I go, someone will be like, hey, my name's Emmanuel Jonathan, but I've been called Johnny my whole life, short for Jonathan. Sure. That's what my parents call me. So like they'll be like, hey, this is JNZO, and I'll be like, hey, I'm Johnny, nice to meet you. And it'll throw them out. They're like, wait, what? They just said your name's JNZO. So then they see me like on social media and it says Emmanuel Jonathan. Now they're confused. Like, now you got 3 names. So I have that. Yeah, that's like a common problem now.
Have you haven't done a gig at the restaurant yet?
No, I have not.
That has to be done.
That would be cool. I have not done that.
Invite only, small, kind of like what you did recently with Good for a Few. Didn't you do what do they call their sets?
Is it Tiny Bar?
Yeah, Tiny Bar sets. Yeah, Charlie and guys at Good for a Few are doing great things there, and obviously they love the local music scene.
Right.
I saw you did that last week. Fun. Has it gone out yet?
No, that one. Yeah, we did that one a few months ago.
Oh, it was posted last week. I saw a clip somewhere.
They might have reposted a clip.
Oh, maybe
we did it. I think it was like back in March.
Oh, okay.
Me and Ricky got to do it together, and so that was a good time. I really love what they're doing there.
Yeah. Cool. With the music side, obviously, you've got your restaurant side. You've got everybody in the restaurant community that's there. Totally different world in the music side. What's the music community like here, as far as you coming up? New, fresh. You mentioned Phase. What's that like, and how has that been as a new DJ coming up and wanting to get on stage, wanting to get out there, out of the production space?
The dance music scene here.
Yeah. Just community in general.
It's very welcoming. Everyone, I think we have a really good scene here. Still, I feel like it's still a small market scene, but it's definitely. I mean, from compared to when I first started DJing to now, the amount it's grown is insane. Like it's growing, but overall, it's full of great people, full of other great DJs, other great producers, and I really hope it can continue to grow. And I think it will. I mean. I really like that everyone here kind of works together. There's really I wouldn't say there's really any egos between anybody, and I think that's the best part, just everyone kind of working together to grow the scene.
It seems like in the last kind of 3 to 5, probably 3 years maybe, it's really kind of taken off, right? Yes. House Labs kicking off, you got your Sunset Sessions, which kicked off, last week, and then you've got, you got your great, cool group of DJs, and then you have people like Charlie, Good for a Few, that want to bring people in and do something completely different for Oklahoma City, right? Like, it's been done before. We've all seen sets at Cafe Mambo or whatever it is. But, doing that and putting money in the production and really doing it at a high level, it's really cool to see. And, you kind of, be interested, do you get the feeling that you're building something here because you're earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all, like I said, everybody working together. Shout out to the House Lab guys, the way they've grown the house scene here within the past few years. I actually got to play the very first House Lab, which was, what was that, maybe, it's been a few years now, maybe like 3-4 years ago at Angles. And, I always tell Danny and Caleb, I feel like we've kind of grown together, I see as they're growing, we're growing as artists. So it's been cool to see, honestly.
What, as far as kind of future plans, what is this, so you got the business, you're running the business with your brother, that's the day job, right? But, there's dreams here to be on stage, to play at these big festivals. I get the feeling that you don't want to do things lightly, and your family doesn't want you to do things lightly either. You've got that entrepreneur in you that wants to go all the way. What's like that plan? Where do you want to go? What's the kind of, wave the magic wand, and where do you want to be in 10 years?
Definitely, I mean, continue to expand, continue to grow as a brand, as a JNZO brand. I will say, within the past year or two, I've kind of fallen off on the production side.
Okay.
So I think what I would really like to do is get back into that, make it more of a, how can I say this,
Like a label? Have your own label side?
Not only that, but also just kind of like get more to the point where I'm like constantly producing like I used to, That also comes back to the restaurant side, I get to the point where I get so busy here that I can't really focus here, and it just goes back and forth.
Yeah.
So I think without production, it's kind of hard for me to grow as an artist. So before, I can think about expanding, I need to focus on getting back to producing.
Yeah. Does the production side force you to be more creative and force you to, and I'm saying this with the context of, to really learn to do something, you have to teach it, right? You heard that quote before, like if you teach something, you really learn how to do it. Is that kind of similar in the production side? Like you really have to learn how to do it before you can be creative and put it in your own music?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even till this day, I'm still learning so much when it comes to production.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people that ask me that, like, hey, like, can you teach me how to produce? And as much as I'd love to, I'm like, yeah, I'm still kind of learning too, I'm a big trial and error guy, so I always say, if you can just sit there and watch me for a few hours, then hopefully you can learn something, but it's hard for me to be like, okay, first we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. Because even when I produce till this day, I'll sit there and I'll hit buttons for hours.
Yeah.
And make absolutely nothing. And there's times where I'll sit there for an hour and I'll make a whole song. So.
And it'll come straight away.
Yeah.
That, and the cool thing is watching you documenting that, right? Like I love the video of, the clip of Swedish House Mafia, their documentary that they made of them making one, I think it is, or one of their, or maybe it's Greyhound, I can't remember which song they're making, but you're watching them figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to put you in the room and bring people into the room that are followers of you and they want to support the brand. Because it isn't easy to do, right?
No, not at all.
Someone listens to a song and they like a clip that's 30 seconds or 2.5 minutes or whatever it is. They don't know you've been working on it for like 30 days straight.
Yeah,
right?
Longer.
And then there's other songs that you've done, like you said, been mad.
Mm-hmm.
But the validation and like the output is such a small piece compared to like this whole production and whole creativity piece that you've put into it. It's like, how do you get that across?
Yeah.
You're not going to say on the mic, hey guys, this took me 4 months to produce, but I hope you enjoy it. And it's gone in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of times where, and this is, I think, every producer goes through this, like, most of the songs I complete, by the time I'm done with them, I hate.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it so many times that I just hate it. But, you send them off and you play them and just being, like, seeing other people listen, or, hearing them listen to it and they think it's amazing while you're here hating it. Okay, that's a good feeling, So I always say, like, it's nice to get a pair of, like, fresh ears when you're producing.
Who, as far as production and maybe on the DJ side as well, like, who's your inspiration and who also are your mentors in that space? Like, who are you sending your stuff to get, hey, man, what do you think? And
a lot of my close producer friends, DJ friends, if I need, like a set of fresh ears, I'll send it off to them, and I love constructive criticism. Hey, you can do this, you can do that. Okay, cool. I feel like it's nice to have other friends that do that.
Yeah.
And then there is like certain artists I'll try to send off, whether I get a response or not. That's a different story. But
yeah, people listen to this music all year round. But do you have seasons where you play and seasons where you don't play?
Yeah, I would say the down season for me is that like late November into early February.
Okay.
It kind of slows down during the winter time, I guess you would say. Yeah.
That's interesting because a lot of people see that as like party time at the end of the year. Maybe not January, February because that's kind of sober time, but like especially the end of the year.
There'll be like a couple, like if it's like a Christmas themed party, there'll be a couple of those. But for the most part, I feel like it kind of slows down. And then once late February starts coming around, they'll do like, whether it's like a Valentine's Day event and then once you're in March, it's like,
yeah.
You're just going.
Did you do Froze all day last weekend?
I didn't.
Okay.
That's definitely
on the list.
Yeah, that's on the list for
That's
sure.
crazy. Yeah, well, guys, I did not go, but it looks nuts.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite events just to go to every year here.
Yeah, because you don't. It's not. I had a friend go who grew up back home, played professional soccer here. He went to it 2 years ago, and he said it's the closest thing to back home as far as partying and music and nightclubs.
Right.
Which is amazing to hear, right? Because you don't get that experience, and for the the Jones Assembly team to just be like, we're just going to invest in dance music for one day and drink rosé.
Yeah.
Done. Right? It's simple, isn't it? But
and
they go all out, and
it
works, and it just proves that there is a market for that music here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's so good. No, I didn't go. I'd be dangerous if I went to that. I think we all would be.
Yeah, it never ends well.
Yeah. What as far as like performing, do you prefer to be inside, lights down low, kind of just like vibe, or do you prefer to be out, sunset, on kind of social capsule roof or whatever? Like, there's two totally different sceneries, but the music fits both.
I feel like with my style, that day party vibe is more suiting.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing for me is like I really enjoy when I have like a crowd behind me as I'm DJing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's almost, I guess like boiler room style.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
cool, But even if it's just like, there's a group of people behind me kind of vibing while I'm DJing, because when I'm up there by myself,
yeah, you need some action.
I need some energy up there too.
Yeah. What do we have coming up? What's gigs to close out the summer?
So I got a couple lined up. We'll be this weekend. I got a residence only pool party.
Okay.
The weekend after, I'll be in Tulsa for a Sunday's event. Pony Boy after that, then back to Dallas on the 8th for Kova, which is one of my favorite. Finally got to play there. Been there once. Me and Ricky played a few months ago, and excited to be back. It's a dope spot.
How's the B2B action?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's
back to having someone up there with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. I feel like, it's nice having someone up there that you can kind of feed off their energy, and it's also hard to find someone you can actually back to back with. I've done other back to backs where it just doesn't click. You got two great DJs, but maybe the styles aren't suitable. So when you find someone that you can just vibe with and back to back with any time, I think that's a cool feeling.
Do you have to that point? Do you have like, one thing that you're just like, man, if I could just do this every time, like this is where I am, like a favorite kind of, maybe a favorite experience, but just a favorite feeling or position when you're up there that's like, if I get to this spot, this is where I'm at.
Like while I'm DJing?
Yeah, just a favorite experience leading up to this moment.
I think while I'm DJing, like if the crowd's having a great time, if everyone's dancing, that's all I can ask for. I think that's the best feeling. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Do you have a bank of kind of save songs that are just like, okay, if I'm like the crowd's not feeling it, I've got a bank of like absolutely. Bangers. Okay, good. Does every DJ have that? Right?
I would hope so. I would assume so.
What's some of the bangers that you got right now that are just kind of?
There's this Gasolina at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's me personally. Like, it's a great song, but I played it so many times that But I always know if the energy's kind of low, I bring it in, and everybody just pops off. They love it.
Yeah. To that point, I went to a gig. It was DJ Paulie, or whatever his name is. Paulie, whatever. I don't know what his name is. The guy from that terrible TV show.
Oh, Paulie D?
Paulie D. Ricky opened for him that night. And Ricky was great. And he opened with some epic songs. And then Paulie D came on, and I was like, okay, it's time to leave. Pet peeves, man. There's so many. He just played like 30 seconds. It was like going to, he must have looked at the top 40 and just played 30 seconds of every top 40 song, and everyone went nuts. And I'm like, this is not DJing. This guy's pushing play.
Yeah.
What have you seen that like really irritates you from the industry that like you would love to wipe out?
I'm just going to say it. I hate when I get asked for requests.
You've posted about that on your social. You posted some great requests. You and Ricky actually have posted some great requests.
Yeah,
you probably have an inside joke about that.
I don't really mind it. Like, if I have it, I'll play it, of course. But, a lot of the times when you're, like, a dance music DJ, you already kind of have, like, your set list, No. And then there's been times where I'm playing a house set, and they'll come and request, like, some hip-hop song. It's like, that's just not going to work. Not gonna work.
Yeah, here's some headphones. Go listen to it on your own. To that point, you mentioned kind of already having a set list. What's your process? How do you build your set? does it take quite a while for you to build your set, or can you knock it out the night before? How do you do that, and then how do you get in your headspace for getting ready to perform?
I think when I'm building a set, I think the hardest part for me is finding an opener.
Okay.
Finding an opening track. Like I try not to really recycle too many sets. So like maybe every like few sets, I'll like try to build a fresh new list.
Yeah.
And just finding an opener is the hardest part. Usually when I can find a good opener, everything else is kind of like, I try to keep everything in key. So I'll just kind of like, okay, like if I'm in, I usually start in A flat minor. I think that key is my go-to every time. So like I'll go from there. All right, let's find another track in that key that's gonna do that you like, and just kind of go from there. Yeah.
With your music, talking about A flat minor, I have no music knowledge at all, so I know nothing. That's French to me. As far as that and that skill that you've had, is that something you just developed over time, or did you have a music, like did you play an instrument as a kid and have always had like being able to read music as a kid leading into this?
That's definitely something I developed over time.
Okay.
There's this thing called the Camelot wheel for DJs.
Okay.
I hope everybody uses it. It's a great tool. It kind of tells you every key and what key would go with, like, would work with it.
Brilliant.
And you just kind of go off that map. Now, there's certain situations where, like, no, I really got to play this track and it's not a key. You're okay, bring it in.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like mixing in keys the way to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just something I've kind of learned over time, just do repetition.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you have any trips coming up that you're going on to finish the summer off?
No trips planned.
No.
For one, I usually have something planned, and like other than going to Dallas to play a show, I don't really have anything. I definitely want to do something before the year ends. I would love to go back to Asia, and maybe another country in Asia, maybe in November. But
are their seasons flipped to ours?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going out winter there, summer.
Exactly.
Okay. Which is great.
I mean, even then, when I was in Japan, the weather was always great.
Yeah.
So.
And then, back to the restaurant side, do you have plans to grow and own, and you and your brother want to own multiple, or do you just want to keep it where you're at and let it do its thing?
I think we're on the same boat on this one. I feel like we would have liked to branch off and start like some new concept.
Oh, something that's not Chilinos with something else. Okay.
That's definitely in the works.
Yeah.
There's really no timetable for it, but it's definitely something that's been discussed.
In same food area or still completely different restaurant food?
Probably the same style. You know, Mexican food, maybe a little bit more authentic.
Okay.
It's, I don't know, a little bit smaller.
Yeah. There's always that battle, right? With Tex-Mex and authentic. Like people
Especially
are like, I eat Mexican food. No, you don't. You do not eat Oklahoma Mexican food. It's completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think Mexican food would crush in the UK and overseas. And I think in Europe it would dominate, and I think probably in Asia it would do really good too. Like when I first came here, a friend took me to, and this is cliche, took me to like Qdoba, or took me to, and this is like I was in college 15 years ago. And I was like, this food is like, this would dominate back home. And then I go to, some authentic restaurants, and I'm like, oh, this would do, actually, this is real food. This would do even better. It's, it's amazing probably how many times you see correlations between the food scene and the music scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? As and even though like they're two completely different entities, the community, the vibe around a restaurant, the vibe at a nightclub or on a set somewhere, like there's a lot of cadence there, isn't there?
Mm-hmm, there is.
And they've got to run smoothly to be efficient. And yeah. Does your brother DJ at all? Does he have any music?
He did DJ. He doesn't really do it anymore. Okay. But I think we started right around the same time. He drifted off into other hobbies. He's learned how to be a pilot. That's his hobby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, probably a little bit cooler than my hobby.
I'd be flying you around to your shows. Why not, right? Yeah. Cool. Tell me about your tattoos. You've got some tats. How does that start? And what's the journey with your tattoos and the stories behind them?
I would say none of these really have any symbolic meaning except for two.
Okay.
This right here is a Black Book Records tattoo, which is Chris Lake's record label.
Okay.
One of my biggest influence, his favorite DJ. And this one right here is actually a globe with the record in it. So just traveling for music, like to festivals and shows.
So they're more recent.
Yeah.
With the
music. This one's my most recent one. Before that was that one. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I do want to get more, but
let's finish up with a couple questions here, stateside based. I know you've traveled, seen amazing things. One question is, what do you take from your travels around the world that you have brought back and implemented into your shows? Is there anything that stands out that you've seen around the world that you're like, you know what, that's cool, I'm going to do that?
Just going to seeing a house set here, and whether it's here in OKC or Dallas, and then going to a house set in Ibiza is like two completely different styles, two completely different vibes. You go to shows here, and people really want to hear a lot of edits, like house edits of this song or that song, songs that they know. To compare to where you're over there, it's a bunch of songs that you've probably never heard in your life, and I think that's what's really cool. In my sets, I like playing music that people have never heard, And even me, when I go see a set, I love a set full of music I've never heard.
Yeah.
I think that's really what I take coming back from overseas is just the sets over there are completely different from here.
Yeah. What about locations, places that, you mentioned some great spots you traveled to and seen. What about places that you've played stateside that really stand out to you that you'd love to get back to one day?
And we just got done playing in Austin, what was it, 4th of July weekend.
Nice.
That's definitely want to go back out there. It's our second time there, hopefully not the last. And I think we're actually planning on going back to Denver mid-October.
Okay.
We got to play there in April, and we're planning on going back over there, which was a really cool experience.
They have a big scene in Denver?
It's a pretty big scene.
Okay.
It's a little bit more, heavier, more on the bass side.
Okay.
Heavier music, but the scene's big out there.
Like kind of underground type? I wouldn't,
to an extent, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
heavier underground.
The place we played at was very underground. I think that's what I liked about it the most.
I never would expect you to say that for Denver because everybody in Denver loves being outside.
Yeah.
Right? I expected you to say, we're on the
they
side.
got Red Rocks.
Well, that too. That's what I was picturing. I was like, you're on the outside, you're on the side of a mountain, you're kind of enjoying, you've got this huge view and the sun's going down. That, and it's kind of like vibing, whatever. I did not expect you to,
Yeah, I mean,
we
were
underground.
Warehouse vibes where we played,
Sick.
Which is cool.
Okay.
I love those kind of gigs because, people are really there for the music.
Yeah.
People that go to those events are there for the music.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, tell me about that Denver show then. How was it so different and, the underground feeling, and not necessarily doesn't have to be underground, but just like that. You had the people you're playing for have a following.
Yeah, so it was
the process?
So this was an after party for a show that went on downtown that some friends played at.
Uh-huh.
It was their birthday show and at this club. I forget what the club was called. But so we were after partying. We didn't get announced till day of.
Yeah.
And it was an address. It wasn't even an actual venue. It was an abandoned building that they announced the day of. So we're kind of
what are we doing?
Yeah, well, let's see how this goes. We show up and it literally was an abandoned building, and there wasn't really a whole lot of people outside. So I was, we were kind of nervous.
Yeah.
But once you walked in through that door, the place was just
and they had lights and
flooded.
sound and everything plugged in.
Amazing lights, great sound, the whole setup. It was definitely, it blew my mind because I was not expecting that. So it's kind of nice, when you go in with certain expectations, and it just.
How do you replicate that here? How do you do that? I'm sure that would be. There's plenty of unused warehouses that we have here that
There's so the House Lab guys used to do this series called Deep, which was in afters as well. At the downstairs at the farmers market, there's kind of a similar vibe.
Okay.
They were doing that for a while, so there's definitely areas, and I feel like it did pretty well when they were doing that. So
and when you say afters, it's 1 to 3 in the morning after nightclubs.
2 to 5.
2 to 5. I'm 34. I'm not. I'm getting up at 5. I'm not staying. I need some energy drink for that. Wow. Yeah, that must have been so cool to get that experience.
It was amazing. Yeah,
totally out of the blue of that unexpected moment of walking in. You're like, what are we doing here? Oh, whoa. Okay. Wow. This is epic. Let's go do this.
It was great.
Okay. Hopefully get back to that soon then. Sick. All right. Last question. Finishing up. My day job is real estate, so I'd love to finish with this one. If you were to build your dream house today, unlimited budget, anywhere in the world, what would you do?
Dream house anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Where would I build my dream house? Switzerland.
Okay.
I got to go to Switzerland too, and it's a movie there.
Would you do the cliche log cabin?
Probably do something a little bit more modernized, but it would definitely be somewhere in Switzerland, in the mountains. I've always been more of a mountain guy than a beach guy, so that'd be a good fit for me.
Yeah. Studio in the house, setup.
Studio in the house, overlooking the mountains. It was the coolest thing I could think of.
Okay. Awesome. Backdrop coming soon. Sweet. Mate, thanks for coming in. Appreciate your time. Love what you do. Love seeing you perform. I think the first time I saw you was at a House Lab event. It was Sunset Sessions, and it was at Social Capital on the thing. So rocked it.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
it's a
me.
great spot. I'm excited to see you again, excited to watch you grow, and hopefully your brother gets his pilot's license. He's flying you around somewhere.
I would love that.
Yeah. Finish up. People listening, where can they find you? What's your Instagram? How can we come and see you?
Instagram is JNZO because JNZO was taken. So I just added an extra H. So JNZO, that's my username. I have all my links on there to all my music, all my releases, everything.
Okay.
Upcoming shows.
Sick. Awesome. Shout out to AP Promo for setting the podcast up. Absolute star. And yeah, we'll see you guys next episode. All the links will be in the description down below. Go follow JNZO and go watch his Tiny Desk set, which will be on YouTube, link below as well. We will catch you next episode. Cheers.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my 2 pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my 2 golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.